This episode, we're looking at another of the Decepticon Jets, a dangerous and deluded warrior whose incredible power has convinced him he's a living god. Bask in the radiance of the basics on SUNSTORM. The character who would become SUNSTORM first appeared in the first episode of the original Transformers animated series in 1984. He was one of many nameless, generic Decepticon warriors created for the cartoon's pilot miniseries, all based on the shared design of the jet fighters Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. Sporting a distinctive golden yellow colour scheme, this particular generic appeared on screen for only a single second as part of a Decepticon squad trying to stop Autobots Wheeljack and Bumblebee from returning to their headquarters on Cybertron. This one-off background character was unexpectedly revived in 2003 when the original Starscream toy was reissued in Japan, and to accompany its release, online retailer eHobby offered an exclusive recolor of the figure based on the generic jet, though with a somewhat more orangey colour scheme than that seen on screen. A profile for the jet was produced by writer Hirofumi Ichikawa, who named the character SUNSTORM. Ichikawa's profile described how SUNSTORM's body was powered by a fusion reactor that ran at far beyond normal specifications, allowing him to generate intense heat, light, and electromagnetic radiation. These energies constantly radiated from his body, causing harm to all those around him, meaning that he rarely worked as part of a team. Furthermore, SUNSTORM believed that he had this great power because he was some kind of supernatural being, and the peculiar behaviour that this delusion led him to affect only served to further alienate him from his fellow Decepticons. SUNSTORM was the perfect storm, one of the first new characters added to the world of Generation 1 in the 21st century, a new addition to the ranks of the fan-favourite Decepticon Jets, or Seekers as they're also known, and based on a nerdy, deep-cut reference, he instantly grabbed fans' imaginations and was rapidly incorporated into English-language toy lines and media. Within months of the toy's announcement, the official Transformers convention produced their own exclusive merchandise of the character, a non-transforming figurine recoloured from the Heroes of Cybertron Starscream figure. Then, in 2004, Dreamwave Productions gave SUNSTORM a prominent role in their comic books as the main villain of a story arc centred all around him. In Dreamwave's universe, SUNSTORM was a clone of Starscream, created by Decepticon scientist Shockwave and enhanced with a fusion reactor and regenerative armour. While he lay dormant in Shockwave's lab, the knowledge and power contained within the legendary megacomputer Vector Sigma was accidentally uploaded into SUNSTORM's mind, overwriting his personality circuits and causing him to come online believing that he was the computer's chosen one, given divine powers to carry out its will. Like a holy warrior, SUNSTORM headed for Earth to fulfill the task he believed he had been set, to locate a reservoir of mysterious dark energy hidden on the planet and gift its power to his brother, Starscream. The Autobots attempted to stop SUNSTORM, but he proved virtually unbeatable, so powerful that he even defeated the giant Omega Supreme. But he was ultimately foiled when Starscream betrayed him and blasted him into the pit of dark energy. The unstable reaction of the dark energy with his own power sent SUNSTORM's body into meltdown, and the Autobot Jetfire dragged him into space, where the insane Decepticon exploded. A lot of questions remained around SUNSTORM and his crusade, chiefly whether or not Vector Sigma really had empowered him to do its bidding, and what the true nature and purpose of the dark energy was. But sadly, Dreamwave's subsequent bankruptcy and the resulting cancellation of the comic meant that they would never be answered. Also in 2004, Hasbro produced their own SUNSTORM toy for the Transformers Universe line, a recolor of the Decepticon jet Thrust from Transformers Armada. This version of the character appeared in a couple of stories from both the official convention and the Transformers Collectors Club, zealously serving both the Dark God, Unicron, and the ancient evil Transformer, the Fallen, in their attempts to dominate the multiverse. SUNSTORM mania continued in the back half of the decade. More toys were released in both the Transformers Cybertron and Titanium series. eHobby reissued his original toy, and he was even included as a playable character in the Revenge of the Fallen video game. Most notably, in 2008, SUNSTORM made a return to television when a new incarnation of the character was introduced in Transformers Animated. In this series, all the Seekers were clones of Starscream, created to serve as his personal army, and each one embodied a unique aspect of his personality. SUNSTORM was his sycophantic side, a fawning suck-up whose every word was over-the-top flattery of friends and enemies alike. SUNSTORM initially looked just like Starscream, but later in the series, he was given a new helmet based on the Seeker's look from the original cartoon by Decepticon conman Swindle to help him tell SUNSTORM apart from the other clones. A handful of further SUNSTORM toys were released in the early 2010s, including a figure in the high-end Masterpiece series. But it was now becoming apparent that Hasbro were losing interest in this once hot character. Most visibly illustrating this, fans had spent years hoping to see the 2006 classic Starscream toy recolored into SUNSTORM, and while this did eventually happen, it was only as a limited availability convention exclusive for BotCon 2013, because by this stage, there was no intention of doing it at retail. In the end, halfway through the decade, new SUNSTORM toys dried up completely, and no more would be released for close to 10 years. And listen, it was a really conspicuous absence, given that vastly more obscure Seekers like Redwing, Hotlink, and Nacelle all did get toys during this time. Similarly, SUNSTORM's media appearances dwindled to little more than cameos in the occasional comic or piece of animation. His only notable role of the last 15 years was in IDW Publishing's comics in the early 2020s. In this version of his story, SUNSTORM was a normal bot until he was caught in the eruption of an artificial black hole and saturated with its exotic radiation. Driven mad, he was placed in confinement by Shockwave to protect the other Decepticons from the energy now uncontrollably radiating from his body. But he would later be freed by the ancient tyrant Exarchon, who sought to transfer his mind into SUNSTORM's body and take his power for himself. Unfortunately for Exarchon, as soon as SUNSTORM was released from his holding cell, his radiation simply melted his would-be possessor into a puddle of slag. But then, SUNSTORM suddenly burst back onto the scene in 2024 with the release of multiple licensed non-transforming figurines, model kits, and action figures. And then, at long last, it was announced that Hasbro themselves were finally making a true, new, transforming SUNSTORM toy for 2027. A recolor of the 2026 Studio Series Seeker figure, sold in a box set with fellow Seeker recolors Nova Storm, Acid Storm, and Ion Storm. That said, this 4-pack is a made-to-order item, available only for a limited time through Hasbro's web store, not a regular retail release. So while fans are still grateful that SUNSTORM is back after a long time away, it still seems that, for now, his brightest days remain behind him. And those are the basics on SUNSTORM. Were you there for the days when he was the hottest thing around? Illuminate me in the comments. As always, like and subscribe for lots more Transformers history and lore, and get early ad-free access to new videos by becoming a Patreon or a channel member.